The Irish famine, also known as the potato famine, is the period of food scarcity that hit Ireland between 1845 and 1850. The Irish were largely dependent on the potato crop for their food supply. However, 90% of them have failed due to potato blight. This plague was caused by the pseudofungus Phytophthora infestans and wreaked havoc through monoculture. As a result of the food shortage, more than 1 million Irish people died. Millions more fled, forced or otherwise, to North America, Australia, New Zealand, and Great Britain. The effect of this disaster had been felt for generations. As the nation population was hit, it was never recovered till this day. After this, the country has been in economic troubles a lot. How did Norway went from the sick man of Europe to the richest nation of Europe? Watch further to find out. Yes, the country that for hundreds of years was best known for emigration, tragic poets, famines, and civil wars today has a per capita GDP higher than that of Germany, France, and Britain. How Ireland went from the sick man of Europe to the rich man in less than a generation is an amazing story. Ireland's turnaround began in the late 1960s when the government made secondary education free, enabling a lot more working-class kids to get a high school or technical degree. As a result, when Ireland joined the EU in 1973, it was able to draw on a much more educated workforce. By the mid-1980s, though, Ireland had reaped the initial benefits of EU membership subsidies to build better infrastructure and a big market to sell into. But it still did not have enough competitive products to sell because of years of protectionism and fiscal mismanagement. We went on a borrowing, spending, and taxing spree, and that nearly drove us under, said Deputy Prime Minister Mary Harney. It was because we nearly went under that we got the courage to change. And change Ireland did. In a quite unusual development, the government, the main trade unions, farmers, and industrialists came together and agreed on a program of fiscal austerity, slashing corporate taxes to 12.5%, far below the rest of Europe, moderating wages and prices, and aggressively courting foreign investment. In 1996, Ireland made college education basically free, creating an even more educated workforce. Until recently, Ireland seemed unstoppable. While the rest of Europe was facing all sorts of uncertainties, Brexit, trade tensions with the US, refugee and migrant crises to name a few, the Irish economy was humming along. In 2019, when the Eurozone grew only 1.5%, it expanded by over 4.9%, the fastest growing country in the bloc. It would only be normal to think that COVID changed that, right? But Ireland defied all expectations once again. Its GDP grew by 5.8% in 2020 and by more than twice that, meaning an astounding 13% in 2021. Forecasts for 2022 are somewhat more conservative, standing at about 5.2%, although most nations can only dream of achieving such a level of growth. A nation of just 5 million inhabitants, Ireland was one of the hardest hit by the 2008 financial crisis. Following some politically difficult reform measures like deep cuts to public sector wages and restructuring its banking industry, the island nation regained its fiscal health, boosted its employment rates, and saw its per capita GDP almost double in a short amount of time. Do citizens feel twice as rich as a decade ago? Probably not. Ireland is one of the world's largest corporate tax havens, with ordinary people benefiting far less than multinationals do. Companies were coming to Ireland because of its low taxes rates. But Irish government did not want multinational companies to set up their tax headquarters with few accountants. Instead, it wanted them to hire Irish people to improve their standard of living. The Irish administration in the 80s asked, what are the obstacles foreign businesses are facing in hiring Irish people? One of the reasons for this was labor legislation, which was so strict that hiring and firing made difficult, which made corporations reluctant to hire Irish people. So the government started liberalizing its labor legislation and other policies to make it easier for businesses to hire in Ireland. These policies soon worked miraculously as businesses began employing Irish people and improving the economy. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, Ireland was called by many people the Celtic Tiger because of its enormous growth. From 1995 to 2000, Ireland's economy grew consistently at a rate of 9 or 10%. It outpaced any other economy in that period. In 1980, corporate tax rates were 50%, one of the highest in the world. But in the early 2000s, corporate tax rates were just 12.5, one of the lowest in the world. This reduction in the tax rate was an incentive for many foreign businesses to arrive in Ireland. With low taxes and low ECB interest rates, many people domestically were starting companies that were fueling the economic growth in Ireland. Many people don't know that Ireland is an airline powerhouse. Many multinational aircraft lease companies currently operate in Ireland. Ireland manages nearly 22% of the fleet of aircraft worldwide and a 40% share of the global fleet of leased aircraft. The country is one of the largest exporters of pharmaceuticals, medical devices, and software-related goods and services. Today, Irish economy is diversified, and even in the COVID crisis, its economy was still resilient and continued growing. Ireland went from a poor and third-world country to a highly advanced economy. Ireland became a European headquarters for international corporations because of its stable political and economic system. Economy of Ireland. Ireland has a mixed economy. The Constitution provides that the state shall favor private initiative in industry and commerce, but the state may provide essential services and promote development projects in the absence of private initiatives. Thus, state-sponsored, semi-state bodies operate the country's rail and road transport, some of its television and radio stations, its electricity generation and distribution system, and its peat industry. State companies also are active in the fields of air transport and health insurance. The advent of a single European market in the 1990s encouraged many of these enterprises to privatize and become more competitive. Ireland's high-technology sector, made attractive by a very low 12.5% corporate tax rate, spurred economic growth during the 1990s and helped reduce unemployment to historically low levels. The economic boom, during which the country's growth was more than double that of most other EU countries, gave rise to the countries being labeled the Celtic Tiger. Resources and power. Ireland is not rich in mineral resources. Discoveries of silver, lead, zinc, and gypsum have been successfully developed, but the country's dependence on imports for its energy requirements is high. In the early 1980s, offshore natural gas wells began production in the Celtic Sea south of County Cork. The offshore reserves were limited, however, and a pipeline from Britain was built in the 1990s to provide replacement supplies. What do you guys think of Ireland? Let us know in the comments below. And most importantly, if you wish to be updated about more economic videos, you should consider subscribing to our channel and pressing the bell icon. Also, thank you for watching the videos, and we will see you in the next video.